Are we losing the loyalty, experience, and culture that built this industry? Today, we're talking about the future of the oil field and whether the people built it still have a place in it. This is Crude Logic. It is Wednesday, July 15th, 2026. Let's get crude.
This is Crude Logic. Welcome to the show.
For today's Market Minute, West Texas is at 79.17, Brent 84.60, natural gas is at 2.89, and we are holding flat with U.S. rig count sitting at 5.81. That's it for today's Market Minute. Let's jump into the morning meeting.
Okay, so for the morning meeting today, Iran has struck out but still demanding to be in the batter's box. Oil prices are acting like a SpaceX rocket in launch mode, and rig count is flatter than a Kansas sunrise. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a topic that a long time ago was a topic that was kind of on the fringes, and that's contingent labor. And what I mean by fringes is that there used to be these small firms, small outfits that ran 10 or 15 guys. They were getting a premium for it. Everything was really going good in that contingent labor space. And that was kind of before everybody started jumping on board with this contingent labor thing. And now we have these huge, big firms that are running, the little guy can't even stay engaged anymore. There might be a few small dedicated firms that are still out there that have like the highest quality of guys, and they're staying afloat because they've always had those guys. But contingent labor as a whole has really kind of started dominating the industry. So the question really that I have is contingent labor good or bad? And if it's good, who is it good for? And if it's bad, who is it bad for?
I think that it's good and bad for both parties all the time. It's good mostly for the guy who owns the consultant firm or his friends,
right?
Whatever.
Yeah, because they're essentially acting as the middle guy, collecting for it. But the something that kind of altered that back whenever we were coordinating, we would just get with the firm and get a guy and get the job, and they would come out and they were 1099, and whatever that was, it was, right? They got either paid by, usually at that point, I think it was still by being paid to their LLC or whatever the case was. But then there started get these lawsuits started happening, and just like lawyers always do, they screw it up for everybody. And guys were complaining that they didn't get paid, and they didn't get paid for certain things, and all that. Now that's kind of the angle that from the firms or from the companies that are running the contingent labor guys, that's kind of an angle from them as far as whether or not they were getting paid well enough or whatever. I mean, the guys want to get paid what they're supposed to get paid, but we all operated on day rates. Day rates were the thing. We understood it at the time. You got paid a certain amount a day, and that's what you got paid. Maybe you had some per diem, maybe you had some mileage and some expenses, but you got paid your day rate. That's what it was.
Now they've taken when you look back at it, at the time, their argument was all of these firms, got together and sued and convinced the government or whoever makes this call that all of these guys were working more hours than they were being paid for because they're working more than 8-hour days, or they're working a 12-hour day, or sometimes a 16-hour day, and they weren't getting paid extra for those hours, which is a fair argument, right? But if you look back at it now, they may have won that whole thing, but the person who gets paid for that now is the consulting firm. That's basically their fee, so they're getting paid by the hour, but the hours are still set at 12, no matter how many hours you actually have to work. You're getting paid for a 12-hour day. They just converted the daily rate to an hourly rate. And if anything, it screwed the actual worker, because then it enabled the coordinators at some companies. Not everybody's doing this, but some companies are like, well, you left at noon that day because it was the last day of the hitch or whatever. So we're only going to give you 6 hours for that day. And you normally would have got a full day rate. So the only person who got screwed is the guy who was supposedly getting saved from being screwed.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was, I think, the unintended consequence for all these lawsuits. And I like you said, I get it. I get that they wanted to get paid their proper due. at the same time, and maybe I'm just an old school guy that you tell me I get paid a day rate, I agree to that and decide, okay, I want my day rate. And then later on, I decide, oh, well, I worked too many hours. And I'm not dogging anybody who became part of these lawsuits or whatever. I mean, full transparency, we won't name the company, but both you and I worked at a contingent labor company together, and we saw a lot of these things. And there are some benefits to these larger firms, that a guy who's self-employed or operating off an LLC or as an independent contractor in some cases can get insurance. And the firm that we used to be at, and I don't know if they do now, but
Yeah, I mean,
back
there's a lot
then.
of there's the insurance side of it. There's the now the that same firm and several others are doing this next day pay. But each thing you have to pay whatever your percentage is.
Percentage.
Yeah, you got to pay another percentage point if you want insurance, another percentage point if you want next day pay, and it's it, it's all fine and good, but it's the companies who came in. The used the used to the going rate used to be like 10%, some even as high as 15%. And then some of these bigger firms came in and they started coming in at 4 and 5%, and everybody flocked to them. It's kind of like the Amazon of,
Yeah, of
you know,
course they would. I would have.
yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? You're only paying 4 or 5%. And then those guys slowly started saying, okay, well, if you want next day pay, it's another percent. If you want insurance, it's another percent. And then they get back up to the 10%, but they have the full market at that point, and that was the play all along with those guys.
Right, but they were losing their ass on these low rates, and the guy, the worker, the guy out in the field was benefiting from that. I mean, he was in some cases adding 6-7% to his pay, his
Mhm.
day rate every day
Yeah.
by going to a firm that's offering these lower rates. And that's all good if the firm can keep it there, because once you get a guy used to 4%, 4.5%, he's not going to change. He's not going to want to change. And if you come at him with a change, he's probably going to look for the next firm. The problem is that the number of firms is shrinking, and the size of the firms that are left is expanding. So the guy in the field isn't left with many choices. So he kind of has to take what he can get, and it doesn't really leave a fair playing field necessarily. And what exactly is the firm doing for the guy? I mean, the guy is supporting the firm.
That's really all it is at this point. I mean, that's why a lot of these firms are getting smaller too. I mean, they're laying off all of their people and they're getting back to like a core of the original founders plus a few others. It's not like they're dropping off support. They're just taking their percentage and giving them nothing in return. I mean, they used to fly out to location, and I mean, that's how we got hooked up with a company that we both worked for. Was that guy came to our office and met with us, and kind of like formed a friendship or a relationship, and then eventually wound up working for the guy. That's not the norm anymore. They don't come to your office. You don't ever even see these guys. You can't even get a hold of them once they start getting 5% of your paycheck. That good luck getting them to answer the phone.
One of the benefits that did exist, that quit existing, that may be back now, I don't know, but for a while these guys had the benefit of having health insurance, and that is probably one of the biggest benefits that come from running through a firm. I mean, now these guys don't have a choice, because an operator or a service company or whatever, they might have a preferred company that they use, and they say, okay, here you can go with this company, or this is who we're going to run you with, or whatever. And they want to work, so they're kind of held captive by these fees that are out there. And so if they're going to be held captive, I mean, give my man some insurance. That's all I'm saying. Like, give him
Well,
an opportunity.
the problem with it now is exactly what you just said. Like if you go work for one company and they use firm A, and then you to a different company and they're like, well, we don't have firm A. You have to go with firm B. Well, if you can't get your insurance from firm A if you have to work through firm B. So a lot of these guys aren't even taking the insurance. They're going to third party insurance and providing or buying their insurance somewhere else so they can get insurance regardless of who they're working for, and that's costing them more for insurance, obviously. And anyway, it makes it more difficult to get insurance consistently from.
Yeah. And if they do get, if they lose their work with one company and go over to, if they lose their work with company A and then they go over to company B and company B says, well, we only have these two firms that we use. And the guy's like, well, I have insurance with the firm that I'm with now. And they're like, sorry. Then, so now his family at home, it's like, okay, well, I can go work here, but we're going to lose our insurance. So he either has the choice of losing his insurance and going to work, which most of them are going to pick. I'm going to pick that if it's no money coming in, or have some money coming in and have insurance. But then you got to worry about, does that firm that offers the insurance that you want to stay with, that you're trying to have help you find work, what if they don't find you work? You know, and then if they don't, you're turning down opportunities because you think you're good. And then those opportunities dry up where you're at. You might lose the opportunity from company A to company B. And now you're sitting here calling people trying to say, hey, man, you got any work for me?
Yeah, I don't
And
know if it's the same for like all parts of the industry, but for directional specifically right now, there's not enough work that's consistent for the guys to stay working for just one company anyway. So they'll work for, you know, whoever they're working for. I'm just gonna throw two names out there, but if they're working for Halliburton and Schlumberger, so if they go to work for Halliburton for 2 months and then the rig stacks for another 2 months, they move over to Schlumberger's work and then they work for them for, a month in between. So that's adding more complications to the problem you're describing because they're almost all being forced to go 1099 contracts so that they can get their own insurance separately because you can't please everybody. You can't bounce around constantly. Nobody's an employee anymore. They're all contract hands.
yeah, and that results, if you remember many years ago, where we went through a big downturn, probably around, I'm going to say 2012, maybe ish.
Yeah.
I might have my year wrong, but uh, we had that big downturn and we had to let people go. And they also had to let other staff go. And because it was a mass layoff, then they had to pay compensation packages out if it meets that standard for a mass layoff. And then, so what happens? Contingency labor grows, and then operators, service companies, things like that, in a downturn moment, this is where it makes them really nimble because they can say, sorry, 150 guys, we're shutting down operations for a while until we get our new budget or
Right.
whatever.
And that's the
And
problem is it's become such the norm though that's especially for smaller companies, it's become the norm for the rigs to just, you know, smaller oil companies and smaller service companies. But if the oil company picks up, they've got a drilling plan to drill six rigs for the year, and then all of a sudden oil price dips and they change their plan, and now they're going to run 3 rigs. Well, those other 3 rigs are just gone until the price comes back. The service companies have switched to this 1099 labor so that they can do just that. They don't have to have a layoff and pay all these big packages. They just say, hey, we have the work. When we get to it, you've got it, but you're just going to sit at home right now. Well, those guys can't afford to do that. They're going to go work
right.
somewhere else, and maybe they'll be available when the work comes up. Maybe they won't be, but that's a problem we deal with then. And it's forced everybody to be, you know, work. I mean, you're not. It's removed the loyalty from the game because everybody is wants to be loyal, but you have to feed your family, so you're going to go work where the work's at.
Yeah. And even when the work is good, if you can get more money, you're probably going to go there too. Now, I don't, obviously that happens probably quite a bit. I'm just saying that they're gonna they used to, it was like, oh, I can get 25 more dollars a day, I'm in, like I'm going, and that's how guys kind of operated. And now you really kind of have to watch what you do. That extra $100 a day or $50 a day or whatever is good and it adds up, but you have to weigh the consequences. Is this $50 a day worth, you know what's going to happen? I mean, I can go over here. Okay, I got $50 more a day. but I only worked for 3 months and now I'm out of work. Well, I bet you'd like to have that job that had $50 less a day, So I agree. I'm on board. Like go get yours, right? Like go get the money that you think you deserve or that you want, whatever. Like everybody should have the freedom to do that. But there's a lot of systems in place now that probably should have been put in place because it does cost these service companies and operators a lot of money to have a lot of turnover. And I think that's why operators have brought like directional, for example. A lot of them have brought directional in house, even though they may still be independent contractors. The days of the DDs coming from the service company are getting fewer. I mean, it still happens. You still got big directional companies that provide hands, but they're also bringing in a lot of contingent labor themselves. So if I'm a contingent labor guy and I get offered to be brought in house by an operator, I have a better chance of having more guaranteed work. Guaranteed, I use that word loosely because nothing's guaranteed in this industry. But if you're tied to the operator that's running the rigs, then you have the option to probably stay working longer. You're not at the hands of, okay, well, I'm a contractor for this directional company and they just lost 4 rigs and I'm out,
Right.
which,
But
that
it's
can,
also driven, I mean, on the positive side for the workers. On the negative side, there are less opportunities, but on a positive side for the guys who are on those rigs, the day rates have gone up to, I've seen as high as 1,500 a day because there's fewer of them, honestly. Like a lot of the guys who are good at that role, directional drilling, they've left the industry. It's just gotten to be too um
yeah. Yeah.
unstable.
And then I don't know if there's a shortage of workers right now, but with a lot of people that get tired of, we've talked about it in the past where somebody gets laid off, they just go to another industry altogether, and most of them, there's a good number that come back because we all get addicted to this lifestyle that the oil field is just crazy. You got this crazy lifestyle of being away and in remote locations and all this stuff, but you make all this money and you got this opportunity to live. It's just you either love this or you hate it. And if you're built for it, you stick around. But a lot of these guys that are built for it are saying, I'm done. Either they just retire altogether or whatever. And then you got things like AI coming in, which I don't know, maybe some of these younger guys that are more tech savvy and all that coming into an AI world may be beneficial, but how many people are coming into the industry new? I mean, it's still happening, but I don't know.
It's a lot
That's
fewer than it was in the past for sure. AI is a great talking point for, it seems like the last 3 years it's been all anyone's talked about. As far as AI models and stuff go, they're like rapidly increasing their capabilities. They're much faster, much better. But from a drilling perspective, we've been talking about drilling with AI or drilling with, some sort of computer intervention for at least more than a decade, if not longer. I don't see it ever becoming a thing. No matter how good the computer gets, no matter how much they can take into account, there is an art to understanding how an assembly is behaving downhole and all of that stuff. And I didn't really used to believe that. I thought, nah, it's just a bunch of DDs who want to remain relevant, right? But the more we throw at it, the more, I mean, they've got computer programs now for these rotary steerable tools. You can load the BHA components into it and make sure they're all exactly right. You can put the well plan in and you can hit go and it will do its damnedest to make sure that it's making every attempt to drill that well plan on target, but it doesn't do it. And it can't do it because it just can't anticipate the things that humans can. Like, oh, we know at this depth this happens. Even if you tell the computer that, the computer's like, okay, well, the numbers say, and it just does it wrong every time. It's so I don't
I don't know if I agree. And the reason that I don't agree is because robotics are advancing as fast as AI is advancing, and you can put pipe in a holding system where it has an arm that can pick up pipe and put it down into and make connections, and It can probably detect kicks and things like that better. It could automatically shut in the well in an event.
Well, we're
Uh,
doing all that. I mean, that's all happening. And there's robot arms that pick up drill pipe and that load catwalks and that do all of that. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I think that
right.
is happening and is going to continue to happen and continue to improve. But all that's done so far is create efficiencies. And yeah, it does result in um, less rigs running, which of course results in less jobs. But when a rig is running, it still has a motor, I mean, a driller, a motorman, a derrick hand, two rig floor hands. Those five people have been on the rig for 100 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't, no matter what we seem to throw at it, it's not decreasing the number of personnel on location. It is
But I can
increasing.
see that happening though. I mean, that legit, I mean, you could get to the point to where all you need is a driller on that rig and he's probably just monitoring a lot of it. I mean, that I know
Maybe.
we're not there yet and maybe we won't get there, but it's possible.
Well, we've been talking about like on the directional side of the business. I know that we hit directional a lot on the show, but I mean, we both come from that side of it.
That's our world.
Yeah. But we've talked about, well, we're going to go to one DD or we're going to go to one MWD, and we've done that. Every company has done that. I think most companies now charge for a second MWD hand, two DDs standard, one MWD, or one day DD and one day MWD, and then the rest are remote from or run from a remote operation center. But the majority of the operators are like, "Nah, I'll pay extra for the other guy." They want the full crew, you know.
I think that it's a fail safe. I mean, we may not get to this point, and maybe it's too expensive to even get to that point, but I can see a world getting there. And I hope it doesn't. I mean, I think that all this technology is great. And, one benefit is fewer people on location, fewer chances of people getting hurt.
But I think that there is and you can even take those people. I'm sure at one point, I'm sure Elon Musk will figure out how to make, the ability to take those people's memories and lessons learned and plug them into a robot. Then somebody's going to have to be there to fix the robots. Tesla robots or whatever brand of robot is in your house, folding your laundry and washing your dishes and all that stuff. And eventually, there maybe before that, there will be industrial robots that are. I think there's already robots on assembly lines, but you could have robots that are working the rig floor and paying better attention to monitoring things and shutting in wells earlier. And I agree with all of that. There's either two ways that works out. Either one, we have to all shift to taking care of the robots so they can take care of us. It becomes more like a real life version of that movie Wally, where we're all just sitting around on lounge chairs and we're being waited on by all these robots, and everyone in the world, because once you have all the robots doing that, I mean, what are we all going to do? There's got to be I don't know. I mean, maybe the population decreases and that's going down a whole another rabbit hole, but maybe the population winds up decreasing because of that, because there's so many people doing nothing.
So the next generation of drillers may not be replaced by robots. It just may be the best drillers may be the ones that know how to work the technology.
Right. And that's what we're seeing right now with what we're talking about. There's still five drillers or there's still five hands on the rig. I mean, they're the guys who have proven the ability to use the technology to become much more efficient. And then that rig doesn't get stacked, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, they can use the AI to, the AI can detect things that maybe they didn't detect as quickly, but then they can use their human response and their knowledge of wherever they're drilling or, whatever to react and make that better, which makes it safer for them. And the guy going down in the pits, there's AI that I'm sure that if it's not existing now, it may exist to where there's certain things AI can do to make it safer for that guy that has to go down to the pits. The guy that goes up in up in the derrick, I mean, there could be AI there that still maybe he's got to be up there, but it makes it easier for him. So I hope that the AI really just makes it easier for these guys out there working on these rigs, or uh, anything but replacing their jobs. And I don't think that we can avoid AI replacing some things, but I hope that the guys can still stay out there because this industry was built by men who know how to do this, and this industry should continue to be ran by the men that built this. So, we'll see what happens, but it's definitely going to be a interesting ride. So let's do a little segment here. I like to call it "Would You Rather." Okay, and hopefully anybody watching or listening, I hope you guys will comment and tell us whether or not you agree. So we're just going to run through some questions here. We're going to answer them. Please comment and let us know what your opinion is. So, would you rather drive a heavy duty Ford, Chevy, or Dodge truck out in the field?
Ford.
Why do you say Ford?
Chevys feel the interior of Chevys feel too like cramped. The interior of Dodges feel fake and cheap and crappy.
I am a big fan of Dodge and Chevy, but I agree. Ford F-250, F-350, that's the sweet spot. That's what you got to drive. And I know not everybody does. That's our opinion. So if you don't like what we're saying, let us know what you think. All right. Would you rather watch baseball or football?
Hockey.
Oh my God. We're focusing on American sports.
Well, we've dominated it now for quite a while.
I get hockey's cool. But me all day long. Football, more specifically, college football, Boomer Sooner.
Dallas,
So if you don't like that, what?
Dallas Cowboys. And yeah, I know
Okay.
they suck. But
I can't do pro football. I'm tired of pro football. It's
yeah, I'm
I
tired of
mean, really,
pretty much everything, like politics especially, but the rules and everything is just anyways, that's a whole nother topic.
yeah, and college football, let's be honest, it's become pro football with all this NIL and all this. I mean, they're paying. I heard a story where they're paying they gave some eighth grade football player an NIL deal in eighth grade. So, I mean, at what point are we just going to say, oh, well, that guy played football and he just had a kid? Let's give that baby an NIL deal. But my point is that college football has just really become pro football. They're just calling it something different. So I don't like that. I'm a purist and I love Oklahoma Sooners, just so you know. So, um, would you rather drink beer or bourbon?
Bourbon.
Bourbon all day long. Can't do beer anymore. I know there's a lot of beer drinkers. If you disagree, let us know. And if you do drink beer and you decide to comment, tell us what kind of beer you like. Is it light? Is it dark? Is it IPA? What do you prefer? Hell, we might do a poll at some point. All right, last would you rather. Would you rather work in the field or in the office?
I think that depends on the stage of life you're in. If you're young with no kids, no marriage, field's where it's at. If you're married with kids, office.
Man, I agree with that, except whenever you're in the office, it is at a minimum a Monday through Friday grind. If you are some type of coordinator, field super, whatever the case may be, sleep is not in the equation if you're working from the office. The field, if you're working out in the field, whatever schedule you're working, when you're off, baby. And that's where I would say at this stage in my life, I would probably work in the field, but I'm an empty nester. I don't have kids at home anymore. So, that's me. But personally, I'd rather work in the field. Go out, bust it out, get all your work done, go home, forget about it for 7 days or, 3 days. Or when you're a DD back in the day, maybe you got a day. Who knows? But so, all right. Well, that's it for Would You Rather. Everybody send us comments. Let us know. Talk to us. Tell us what you think. We're trying to get some engagement here. If you think we're stupid and idiots, say it. I don't care. Let's figure it out. But comment on our Would You Rather and any other things we do. We want to know we want to get a finger on the pulse of what's going on out there. So let us know. So we got the last thing we want to pose to you, the listener or viewer, is these three questions. And we're not going to answer them. We just want you to respond to them if you feel like it's worth your time. And it pertains to the contingent labor piece that we talked about. Do you agree with the contingent labor model? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you wish it would go away? What do the good contingent labor firms do? And feel free to tell us what firms you think are good. We'd love to know. And then finally, if you could have a firm or you could change everything that contingent labor firms do, what would you change? How would you make it better? So let us know what you think about those questions. We look forward to your comments. And with that, thanks for adding us to your daily routine. We would appreciate it if you would subscribe on YouTube and on social media. You can find us at Crude Logic Show. We value your comments and your feedback. Please send us your comments or suggestions to info@crudelogic.show. We publish new episodes every day, and we will be doing some live shows coming soon. So make us a part of your daily routine. Join us tomorrow for some more Crude Logic. Remember, stay safe, keep drilling, and it's only logic if it's crude logic. We'll see you tomorrow.
4 in the morning, coffee black, steel toes hitting an old gravel track. Hard hats on, boots in the mud, turning diesel into blood. From the Permian dirt to the Rocky Mountain snow, if the rig starts drilling, we're ready to go. Sun comes up, another 12, ain't nobody gonna do it themselves. We drill it deep, we build this land with busted knuckles and calloused hands. This is crude logic, welcome to the show.